The Ottawa Senators have named a new head coach and his former Maple Leaf assistant, DJ Smith. In today's video, we're going to take a look at the background and history of DJ Smith, and I'll give you my thoughts on this hire, and that's coming up next. Welcome back to Top Shelf Hockey. If you're new to the channel, thanks for stopping by. We review and discuss all 31 NHL teams, so if you're a huge hockey fan, consider subscribing and clicking the bell so you don't miss anything. So we have news out of Ottawa today and their new head coach. Obviously, this is not something we were expecting today. Based on all the other media reports, we were led to believe the decision may not be made until the weekend or possibly early next week. I know we've discussed recently about the fact that Patrick Roy was a candidate in his hiring search and that he very well might be the next head coach of the Ottawa Senators. It was reported in the last couple days that he and Pierre Dorion were spotted meeting in Montreal. I know we did a video a couple days ago discussing the possibility, and I know many of you kind of agreed the fact that he would not be a good candidate in this case. I just don't see how Patrick Roy would have been a good fit working in an organization run by Eugene Melnyk. As we know, was a little bit of a hothead. He's a bit of a control freak. He is a good coach. There is a lot of good things about him, but when you take away the things that aren't so good and mix in working with Dorion and Melnyk, I just don't see that as a good thing at all. I see it as a recipe of likely being a disaster. Here's some history and background on DJ Smith in case you're not familiar with him. Of course, he was an NHL defenseman at one point in time. He was a fairly high draft pick, but never really played a whole lot in the NHL. He was mostly a career minor leaguer in the American Hockey League. He did have to retire at a fairly young age, though, due to multiple concussions, and that ended things early, but he went immediately into coaching. Following retirement, he got started with his hometown Windsor Spitfires in the Ontario Hockey League as an assistant coach, a team he worked with for 8 years before given the opportunity to go on to be a head coach in the Ontario Hockey League with the Oshawa Generals. Now, in the 2013-14 season, he was named OHL Coach of the Year, and the following year they became OHL League champions as well as the Memorial Cup champions as the top junior team in all of Canada. That was quite a feat at the Memorial Cup. It's definitely fair to say that the Memorial Cup is one of the toughest trophies to win and accomplish as a junior team in Canada. Obviously, the CHL has a lot of teams throughout its three leagues between the Western Hockey League, Ontario Hockey League, and the Quebec Major Junior Hockey League. After going through your own tough, long, grueling playoffs and winning your league championship, you then go on to this tournament to face the other league champions as well as a host city. And it's certainly a long, hard battle. So to be named Memorial Cup champions is quite a feat. And this is something that Coach DJ Smith was able to help the Oshawa Generals accomplish back here in 2015. After that, he had an opportunity to come on board with the Toronto Maple Leafs. In the past 4 seasons, he's been an assistant coach under Mike Babcock. During his 4 years with the Maple Leafs, being a former defenseman, he did work with the defenseman quite closely, and I do think it's fair to say that we saw the Leafs D-corps improve quite a bit during his time. Most recently in 2018, he was voted by the NHLPA during a poll that held with his players as the assistant coach most deserving of an NHL head coaching opportunity. The other names that garnered a fair bit of votes in that poll were Todd Reardon, who was an assistant with Washington at the time, who was of course now their head coach, and Ulf Samuelsson as well. However, DJ Smith was ahead of both those guys and now will get his first opportunity with the Ottawa Senators. Of course, he has signed a 3-year contract to be their head coach. It's not quite clear what's going to happen yet to interim coach Mark Crawford. Obviously, he was interviewed as part of this process as well, and it is possible, I guess, that he may remain on with the Senators in some capacity. So it wouldn't be completely shocking to see Crawford possibly remain on with the team as an assistant where he has for the past 3 seasons as well, but that's not really quite clear at this time. We'll have to wait for further word on who will be on DJ Smith's staff here once all that gets sorted out. So considering the other names that were involved in the hiring process here for the Senators coaching position, I do think DJ Smith was one of the leading candidates the whole way through. I know he's looked upon as a great communicator, a great strategist, which is what part of the press release said from Pierre Dorion upon announcing the hiring of DJ Smith. He's very much a player's coach. The players really seem to take to him and have a lot of respect for him. I know Morgan Riley of the Toronto Maple Leafs had some very good things to say about him when he was asked if he thought DJ Smith would be a good head coach at the NHL once he was given the results of this poll here not too long ago. And Morgan Riley said that he would not be surprised at all. He could definitely see him being a head coach. He said when you're a younger player, he lets you be young, lets you make mistakes, makes you learn from it. I know some coaches obviously will bench you and kind of punish you for those mistakes, but he doesn't appear to be that kind of coach. And as you became more experienced and more of a veteran, he'd certainly give you more responsibility and help you grow as a player. So coming from Morgan Riley, I think that's a great compliment, and it does appear as though that he was well liked in Toronto by the players. Given the fact that the Ottawa Senators are going through a rebuild and have so many young players, that certainly is encouraging to hear things from the NHL players about how they regard DJ Smith as a coach, especially with the younger guys. He's a better candidate than Patrick Waugh and many of the other guys that were on the list of candidates for this job. I mean, there were some other older coaches that have been around a while, like a Rick Bowness or Jacques Martin, who certainly appeared quite interested in coming back as well. I know even Columbus assistant Brad Shaw had a lot of interest, although it doesn't seem as though he was able to get an interview. So one of those guys, I know by many fans at least, were kind of regarded as potential favorites as well, somewhat due to nostalgia, but they are good coaches. They've got a lot of experience and also would have been a decent hiring in this case as well. But DJ Smith is a young up-and-coming coach that the Senators obviously have a lot of faith in. They take these young players and guide them through the next few years of this rebuild. So, of course, as always, I want to hear your thoughts and your opinions on the hiring of DJ Smith as the next head coach here of the Ottawa Senators. We will discuss further once we know more about who will be on his staff and how the rest of the coaching staff is going to shape out. If you're new to the channel, I hope you consider subscribing. We cover all 31 NHL teams, and there's plenty of content here for all hockey fans to enjoy. So if you're new, subscribe for more videos just like this one, and give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it as well. I'd appreciate it if you did. As always, thank you for watching, and I will catch you next time.